in this day and age of social media, we've seen a lot of crazy things. So naturally it goes into the barbering industry where we've seen some girls getting on Instagram Live and wearing some crazy outfits. So tell me, what do you guys think the appropriate attire is for female barbers?
Wow. Pull me in the dungeon.
Oh,
Wow. Okay.
so you said, should female barbers be cutting? Is that what you said, or
Ooh.
what was the question?
Oh,
They should. Oh, their attire.
the attire.
Man,
You know what?
yeah, you can start a little bit. There's a lot to say about this
The attire is a really touchy conversation because you're dealing
in
with,
general.
yeah, because you're dealing with how people make their money, right? Now, I think we talked about this earlier in the week, last week, talking about if you took the same situation and put it into a masseuse.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
if a masseuse, a registered massage therapist,
Mhm.
were giving massages, only massages with a bikini on because they feel comfortable, would that be appropriate?
Only massage.
Only, only massage, right?
Okay, like a real massage,
Real
a
massage.
mature massage.
Yeah, right. And then
in a bikini.
in a bikini,
Right.
And then if we flip that, most women are not obviously going to cut hair in a barber setting in a bikini, but they are wearing some things that are very revealing.
Well, I remember you asked that question to a couple guys in the shop about the
Yeah.
masseuse, and everyone said no.
Right.
Like first, when we were talking about women barbering and their attire, people were on the fence.
Yeah.
Like, oh no,
Yeah.
maybe I should
Yeah.
wear that. But as soon as you brought up the masseuse,
Yeah.
everyone was like, no,
No.
can't wear. Then it's not a
Yeah. They're saying it's not fair.
no. It's like, what is it? Happy ending? Like, what is this? It's not the same thing. And the reason being is because once a woman is in a panty and a bra massaging you, then it's not just a massage. It's she's sexualizing what she's doing,
True.
right? So then I feel like it takes away from the craft,
Right.
because then you get a guy lying there. Does he really care about how good he's getting a massage? No, because he can see camel toe and and all that kind of stuff poking out. So it's totally different.
Yeah.
And I always wonder, I never assume to know what women are thinking. And I noticed that oftentimes the opposite sex will tell you about men, saying like, well, men are like this and men are like that. And I always think to myself, you're not a man.
Yeah.
Like, how do you know?
Yeah.
I would never say women are like this and women think like that.
Yeah.
No, I could assume,
Right.
but I'm not a woman. So I would never know.
Yeah.
So I'm only assuming that women understand that. I'm assuming that they understand that if you sexualize yourself, then people will be looking at you thinking sex first.
Yeah.
Don't expect anything else.
Yeah.
Right? In any setting. If you go to a club, Kanye West showed up to the Grammys. You see this?
Oh yeah. I think yeah.
Had no intention of going inside. Right? No intention of going inside.
Did not.
No, he didn't. He showed up because he has an album coming out.
Okay.
And what he does best is he makes sure people are talking about him, and good or bad, because he knows that diverts into what he's doing,
Right.
which is the album,
Right.
right? So his album Bully is coming out, and he shows up to the red carpet, knowing that he's not even. I think he's banned from the Grammys. He's not even allowed to be in the Grammys, but he don't care because he just wanted that moment.
Yeah.
Walks out with his wife.
He's married now?
Yeah, again, walks out with his wife. They start walking. Have you seen his wife?
Yeah, I seen his
White woman. She's attractive, right? She has a fur coat on, big coat.
Okay.
They stand for the pose, then she drops the coat. And she looks naked.
What do you mean
So
looks
what
naked?
She looks naked.
What?
So she's not naked, but what she's wearing is sheer. So I keep hearing about this, right?
Like sheer leggings kind of sheer?
No, sheer top.
Everything?
Yeah. So I keep hearing about this. I keep hearing about it, and I haven't punched in my phone to look it up. But what I'm assuming, because the pictures that I saw, they blurred her, so I'm assuming the top is like see through, and you can see her breasts, nipples, whatever. And everyone's talking about that. This is the Grammys. That was one of the hot topics of that night. And guess what he did? He just walked off and left.
Get Oh, there's no way.
You see?
She's not wearing anything.
You got a picture?
And it's skin tone.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy. Well, so he knows what it is.
See? And because they blur the top and they blur the bottom, you know what it is.
Wow.
And she looks naked, top and bottom. And then they bounced. So, to go back to your question, Demi, what's appropriate attire? I think we're going to focus on women.
Long
dress. We're going to focus on women.
Ankle long dress.
But there's so many things around. It's like we can also talk about men.
True.
So, what we do is a profession, right? We're professionals. So you should look professional in whatever setting, like the aesthetic of the shop is.
Okay.
If you're cutting in what's that place in
Trufford
in the
Hill.
path? Trufford Hill.
Yeah.
If you're cutting there, then obviously you have a tie on.
Yeah.
That's their setting.
Yeah.
You have a tie on. You're not going to be wearing a toque like I'm wearing now, whatever. In our setting, it's more casual.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a uniform. So what we do is we sweater or T-shirt with our branding, right? That's appropriate. Now, for men, it wouldn't be appropriate to be cutting with your hoodie on your head, like covered over your head.
Yeah.
Maybe earphones, headphones on, hoodie on, dark sunglasses, stuff like that is not appropriate, right? Any fool can see that. When you're talking about women now, if you want to be professional, you probably shouldn't wear anything that prints out your shape.
But what if she's a pro?
At showing the print of her shape. That's pretty much what you're saying.
She's a pro, man.
And when women dress like that, what they're doing is they're putting their sex first.
Yeah.
Right? Because a dude will come in, and instead of trying to look nice and neat and clean and professional, and people say, wow, they look professional, that's where I'm going to go to, you're going to be like, whoa, look at her ass.
Yeah, sex sells.
That's where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And it does sell. So
sex.
If you're a woman out there, you're a woman barber, you got to decide, what do you want to sell? Are you selling your tits and your ass, or are you selling your skills? If you're selling your body, then you're going to be showing your body. You're going to be wearing short skirts. You're going to be wearing tube dresses. You know tube dress?
Yeah.
It's like a T-shirt, basically a long T-shirt.
Yeah.
And you'll be wearing things that print out your nipple and, camel toe all over the shop. And you'll get lots of customers.
Lots of customers.
Guys might not even care about the quality of the cut.
You're going to have all these young high school boys traveling from.
So, hey, that female has to decide what type of barber she wants to be. If you want to be taken seriously, then you're going to look like everyone else. You don't see guys cutting hair in tank tops.
Okay, but what if a guy was wearing, let's just say he's got a muscular physique, like where you're going to be in a couple months?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Weeks.
right? Right? Weeks? Okay. What if he's wearing, he's got, chest is cut up.
Yeah.
And he's got the 12-pack, everything. And he's wearing a tight shirt and... You know what?
There's a difference between fitted.
Sorry, what's the male thing? The male nakedness would be like grayish jogging pants.
And commando.
And he's commando.
He's commando. Commando jogging pants?
Yeah. He's attracting clients. He's attracting a certain demographic. I guarantee.
Yeah, clients. Men. So it depends what type of shit. Hey, I'm not saying anything negative about anybody, but if you're a gay man, you're a gay barber, and you're into men, then maybe you do something like that.
Yeah.
If you want to put sex first.
True.
Which means you're not really professional. Professional is putting your skills and your craft first, whatever industry that is.
Right.
That's my definition anyway of being a professional. If you're putting sex first, then you don't have confidence in your skills. You don't have confidence in your skills. So a woman that comes on the floor to cut hair and she in hopes that her figure will make her money.
You know, our DMs are gonna fill up with,
And it should. I hope it does.
some hate mail.
I hope it does. Because what's the difference between a woman that does that and a stripper?
You know what?
There's no difference. They're using their body to make money.
So, I mean, let's just rewind a little bit, knowing that there was a time when whistling at a woman was considered the most offensive.
You can't whistle at women? Let me tell you something. This is, man, I'm going to let you finish. But come on, what are we doing? What are you doing? If I'm walking down the street and a woman whistles at me, I'm going to be like, yeah, thanks. I don't know. That would make me feel good.
Feel good, right? Maybe you're not confident in your skills.
Maybe not. Maybe not. But that made me feel good. I don't know. But I know what you're saying. Yeah. Times have changed.
Times have changed.
I think
right?
times have changed so much so that times are weird. They've changed so much that it's weird. Okay?
All right.
Sorry to cut you. I had a customer in the chair, and he's around our age, right?
Okay.
He's a realtor.
Okay.
And he said to me that everyone is so super sensitive now in the workspace that he said he's uncomfortable.
Oh.
And he doesn't even know how to relate, and he doesn't know how to communicate with people because he's always thinking, don't offend first.
Wow.
Right? For example, so he said he works with people that are like 20 years younger than him. So he said when he was younger, he goes, man, Kirk, I was funny. I was charismatic. You know, everyone liked me. He said, now I can't run those jokes I used to run. I can't say the things I used to say. I can't, semi-flirt at work the way I used to because all that now is offensive.
It's offensive.
All of it. So now if he's communicating with a younger guy or a younger female, he's just like he doesn't know what to say because he's thinking, I don't want to offend. I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
It just makes everything weird because everyone's so sensitive. So I want to let you finish what you're saying, but I think we've gone in the right direction, but it's too far.
It's too far. What? Too far left, huh?
Whichever direction it's I don't know the left or right how it works, but whichever way it's going, it's gone too far.
Okay. Someone posted something the other day of a female pastor on stage, and once again, heavyset woman. I'm not gonna even. I can give you the visual. The visual is a black silhouette dress looking like.
Oh Lord, as a pastor.
As a pastor, and obviously, the majority of the people in the crowd were very male oriented, and you had a couple females in the crowd that were holding on to their man, and making sure that they were only looking at her eyes.
Like that's possible.
And I was like, "What are you doing? Like,
it's ridiculous."
And unfortunately. Right. This is the thing, like, this is a weird time. Now you have, there's a time when having a female pastor or anything that was not just frowned upon, it was just not allowed. Right.
I thought it still wasn't.
So now,
yeah.
Right now you have female pastors, female apostles, female whatnot. As to go with, I'm not going to say it's the Me Too movement, but it is progressively going to the side of pro-female versus there being a balance.
Pro-female over everything.
Over everything. Now, I want to...
It doesn't work in the end. It never works in the end. Whether it's you're a barber, man or woman, and you lead with sex to get customers in the chair. You're a pastor from a church. If you're a woman, you're wearing a sexy dress. No, it's ridiculous. She should be wearing a robe, if anything. I see male pastors wearing robes. Wear a robe.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I thought he was talking about like the robe around the bathroom robe. I was
No,
like,
be wearing a robe. I mean, because you don't want to be distracting. Nothing should distract you from the message, right?
or the
Because
craft.
the message is good enough, and the craft should be good enough.
Right.
If not, go work on your skills. Be a better barber. Be a better pastor. Be a better whatever it is, realtor. On Instagram, social media, all we see when it comes to women, I don't know how you women feel about it, but all we see, the popular pages,
Yeah.
are women that are sexualizing themselves. And they're popular because there's some guy showed me this realtor online, and it's an Asian girl out of Toronto,
Mhm.
and she's a realtor. Demi's nodding his head because he knows.
I think I know
A
it.
lot of people have seen it, right?
Yeah.
So she's a realtor showing homes, showing whatever. Millions of views. What's so special about this realtor? Every angle, she's looking over her shoulder,
Ooh.
showing her ass.
Ooh.
And she got a big ass. So you see this Asian woman, stereotypically, something looks different because her ass is huge.
Mhm.
A lot of Asian women don't have big asses. Let's be real. Right? Let's be real. But this is why it's getting the views.
Sit on the hate mail.
I don't even know if she's a good realtor. And the people watching, they don't care if she's a good realtor. They're looking because it's like, yo, it's ass.
Yeah, they want to see that ass in their house.
She's showing a home. Why is she showing a home over her shoulder? So you can see her ass.
So you can picture her
So
ass
you
in
see
your,
that
in her,
you see that
your
in all
house.
industries. You see that in all industries.
Yeah.
And women have now come into our industry at I was gonna say an alarming rate, but that's not right.
That's not
But
true.
they're into our industry now.
Mm.
Used to see a lot more in the States.
Yeah.
I remember guys going down to the States and be like, yo, I went to barbershop, there's a female barber. I'm like, what? A female barber?
Yeah.
So what I'm used to, is you go to a shop, you see men, right?
Mhm.
And even to get away from females, you go to the barbershop and you see men cutting hair, and they would have haircuts that you have or that you want.
Okay. I see what you're saying. You're right.
There's a time when if you had locks or dreads, you couldn't be a barber.
Right.
Or you can't even walk into a barbershop because people be like, yo, what are you doing? Get out. Fire, get out of here. Dread gonna cut off his light. Like, people would act crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then it moved from, okay, a guy with locks can come in the shop because not everyone is Rastafarian. It's
Right.
it's fashion,
Right.
right? And then they call them fashion dread. But now, I don't think anyone's a Rastafarian. Everyone just has fashion dreads.
True.
So those guys can now enter the shop and they can get their beard trimmed. And if a guy comes in here and he has locks and he's doing his beard and he's got a lineup, no one thinks that's weird.
Nobody.
Where 30 years ago, that'd be like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, it's true.
So that's the norm.
Mhm.
And now barbers have locks, dreads, braids. Most of us in here,
Yeah.
right? So that's fashion. Times change. Same thing with women. There's a time when, like I said, in the States it was much bigger. And guys would always come back and be alarmed. Wow, is a woman cutting? Was she good? Yeah, she looked good. Okay, well, no problem. And then it started happening here.
Mhm.
And here, really, not 10 years. Like I haven't. It's really been within 10 years
Right.
that I've seen a lot of women in shops barbering. And when I say a lot, I mean like almost every barbershop you'll see one woman cutting hair,
Right.
right? And to me, that's a lot. And now it's the norm, right? I spoke with a customer who just talked about culturally and what you're used to. I spoke with a customer and I'm cutting his hair, and he said to me that it was the first time having a man cut his hair.
Where is he from? An African country?
He was from African country.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one. But I was like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
He said, yeah. He said, like, coming to Canada, he said, I really had to get used to it because back home, only females cut your hair.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, why would you want a female cut your hair? Like, they don't have your hairstyle, or they don't really know what you want. These are the things I'm thinking. Why would you want someone that doesn't really rock what you have
Mhm.
to be giving you your style?
Mhm.
And he said, well, just, think about, I'm more comfortable with a woman being in my space and being close to me.
Mm.
And at first he said, it's uncomfortable. Like a man is like right here in my face. And then I start thinking, wow,
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
So It's so weird. Like I remember, kind of go off a little bit, but a guy would come out of prison, whatever, right? And he has braids or whatever it is, and you might ask him about how you getting your hair done because you're used to a woman braiding your hair,
Braiding your hair.
and he's like, yo, it's dudes braid each other's hair, and then you may be like, what's that, like a man in your head braiding your hair?
Yeah.
But guess what? Men are in your head fading your hair. So
Exactly.
I mean, it's the same thing. It's all we're used to. So for this guy to say to me, it was awkward having a man this close to whatever. I'm like, wow, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. But just because we're used to men cutting your hair, barbering, we're not used to seeing women. And when we first saw women, we thought, oh, that's weird, having a woman barber. But I mean, looking back, it's not weird.
So if I'm being honest, then how come we don't have, this big profile on African women barbering? Like, what are they dressing like?
You know what?
Like, are they?
They're probably not sexualizing them.
They're probably not sexualizing it.
Not sexualizing themselves, and no one wants to see that.
Don't want to see a good fade.
When you look at a female barber,
Yeah,
on social media,
it's true.
what do you see?
Yeah,
And I feel sorry for them because I'm sure there's female barbers that are serious about the craft, and they're not into that, and they probably question themselves on, should I maybe for this video I'll do this or I'll do that because I'm not getting any views, right? And they wind up compromising themselves,
which is crazy because I've seen some haircuts online, and I clicked through, and I think one of them was Urkel's barber. She's female. And
okay.
Supposedly he even comes to the city, and and his haircuts are fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they are good.
And I'm like, I don't really get to see her. She's behind the scenes. As far as I can remember, I haven't really looked as of lately.
If
but
she was sexualizing herself, you'd see her.
True. You know what I mean? So her skills are showing, and
ladies, you're sending the wrong message.
And Jaleel White, sorry. And you know what I mean? Like you said, if she's behind the scenes, I'm not saying that anybody that's a female barber shouldn't be seen physically, but I am saying that it sucks that the rest of the social media's platform is saying in order for you to get the followers, in order for you to get the traction, you have to lead with something that's different.
Okay, I'm going to give you two questions, though.
Okay, all right.
The first one was, what should female barbers wear, right? No, what's appropriate attire?
What's appropriate attire? Okay.
Why don't you answer that one? And the second one is, we kind of covered it, but I want to know what you think. Should females be even in the space cutting hair?
What are you doing to me?
What do you think?
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, when we're talking about appropriate attire, I know that through our training, appropriate attire means a couple of things. You're not supposed to have your armpits exposed.
Yes.
Okay.
True. So that means no tank tops, no wife beaters.
Tops, no wife beaters.
Right.
Okay. You shouldn't have any real loose clothing that's either going to touch the client.
Yes.
Right. You're not supposed to be that's not supposed to be happening. Like, so no tassels or no jewelry hanging off you.
I thought you said tinsel.
Right. It's supposed to be, especially with the setting that we're in, you're going to be bending, you're going to be moving.
Right.
You got to have attire that's can repel the hair.
Yes.
Without it, being firmly stuck on you and stuff like that. But
no cashmere sweater.
Yeah, cashmere sweaters, it's ridiculous. And this is for barbering.
Yes.
Right? In the office setting, I'm sure there's a different set of rules, but black gloves to make sure that your hands are not touching the clients, and you can easily sanitize them in between clients. Your hair should not ever be in your face. Like, you need to be able to make eye contact with your client.
No dark glasses.
No dark glasses. That's also customer service type of thing, but definitely a psychological thing. Like, I don't want no.
Yes, because that breaks down trust.
Yeah.
If you have a hoodie on,
and
dark glasses, anything to cover up your image, visually, is misleading.
Yeah.
And it will lean people more towards like, what's going on? What's up with this guy
Right.
or girl?
Right.
So I like what you're saying, because
Right.
what you're saying has nothing to do with women. Right?
That's for everybody.
As it should be. That's everybody. If you're a barber, these are the guidelines that you should have for attire. So then the question in the beginning, what's appropriate attire for females? The answer is barber attire. It's not a sex thing.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And what about the second question?
Females in the space?
Yeah. Should female barbers should that be a thing? Or should they have their own shop? You go to a lady barber shop where all the barbers are ladies.
Called lady cuts.
Lady cuts.
Okay. Here's the deal. Looking back on what the barbershop represented in our community, there was a place and a time when men needed to get advice from men.
Yes.
Right? You needed there's on a Saturday evening, there's a congregation of Jewish men, and they're usually coming from the synagogue, and they are usually talking to each other and conversing. Not saying that they're excluding women, but the men talk. They talk to the boys to give them education, to give them information. They do that. When there's wealth succession that's happening in a family cycle, if there's a father and a son, the father and the son have exclusive conversations discussing how this is going to work. And in this setting, we've had this for a while, but we've used it in so many different ways. But the truth is, this was a place where men from the older generation get to talk with the men from the younger generation, and they had an even conversation. There might have been more listening from the young person's point of view,
right.
But this was a place where you could grow, because everybody comes in the barbershop. Everybody needs the barbershop, especially men. Everyone needs the barbershop to enhance their physical, setup, and it impregnates everything. Like it permeates your I don't know. I should have said pregnant.
President, we're impregnated every year. What the hell?
But it permeates in everything. It permeates your personality, your character, your.
You know what you made me feel like? You made me feel like I feel the same way about church. You go there once a week to get your strength spiritually, and it's almost like you get a break from the world, and you get empowered, and then you're ready to go for another week.
Yeah.
And that's what the barbershop should be.
Yeah.
Right? For men.
Yeah.
You come in once a week, you looking good, feeling good, feeling fresh, get some banter, get some advice, and then you're ready to power through the week. That's very interesting. You know what? You're so right. The barbershop has always been that for us. It continues to be that. And when you talk about younger men, older men being together, I think about Ezra, your son, and I think about how I'm so happy that he's here with us because he's 19 and he gets to see how men react to each other and how we, greet each other, how we just act when we're being silly.
Yeah.
Away from the world.
Yeah.
Because it's different.
Yeah.
Because out there in the world, especially being a black man, I think we watch what we do more.
Yeah. We have to put on a covert.
We'll put on a covert, whatever, depending on who we're talking to, where we are. But in here, we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And he gets to see that from a mature perspective.
Yeah.
Right? Away from his friends. So if he's with his friends and he says something, and his friend's like, man, that sounds silly. He might be like, yeah, whatever. What do you know?
Yeah.
But if he's with us and one of us like, Ezra, you mean stupid. Yeah. He's going to be like, oh, shoot, I'm being stupid.
Yeah, it's true.
He's going to know it's different. And that's why it's important, for men of all ages to be in this type of a setting. So does having a woman barber or female barber, does that interrupt that process?
It does change it, just naturally.
Whenever you add a woman to the space, things change.
Things change. It does, not saying negative or positive, but it does change it. And there's a bit more or less authenticity about being a man
Sure.
when a woman is in the space, because now it's just like any setting. You're trying to either impress her or you're not trying to offend her or all that stuff. When it's men and your guard's down, we're allowing ourselves to be open for direct hits, for verbal. Like, we can get into conversations about anything, and we're not really watching how we offend the other person. So obviously not in a disrespectful way, but now it's man to man. We're talking evenly, whereas I can't, like, if I'm being honest, there's times when the conversations do get a little bit loud in here, and if you put a woman at the receiving end of that, it now turns into a 1-star on Google reviews.
Yeah.
Because how dare you talk to a woman like that?
True.
And that's not the point.
True.
The point is, in this setting, this is what we do. If I put everybody in an arena like with Gladiator 2, I go fight, male or female, that's what's going to happen. Someone's going to die. You got to defend yourself.
And you can't greet females the same way you
can't do it.
Oftentimes you come in here and you like to jab people. You might hit me in my gut.
Yeah.
Like a little jab.
I can't hit no
You
one.
can't. If I was a female, can you walk in and punch me in my stomach?
No, man.
It sounds so barbaric, but I mean, for those of you out there that aren't men, it sounds sophomoric, barbaric, everything, but that's how we relate to each other. I mean, enough times I see he'll punch me in my stomach. It's almost like a gut check. You're like, wake up, man, tighten up, and that's normal for us.
Yeah.
And if you're a woman and that sounds abnormal, then that is normal.
Can't do it.
That is normal for you as a woman to think that that's abnormal.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You're not a man.
You're not a man.
You're not a man. You're a woman. And if you don't understand, then that's good. You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
It's the same way if someone says to me, "Yo, it's a woman. You don't understand?" I go, "No, I don't. I'm not a woman.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to understand."
Yeah.
The day I understand women
In that.
amongst women
Yeah.
and how something's wrong with me.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with me. Because it's not my job to understand women and how they congregate or the right way to approach or whatever. No, it's your job to let me know.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should go.
Yeah.
None of us are psychic. So,
Wow.
hey,
Wow.
barbershops, you got to know. If a woman's in your environment, I'm going to come out and say it changes the environment. And you're not getting the authentic men's country club that we used to have, and used to know.
Yeah.
It's not the same. I'm not saying it's bad, because getting a woman's perspective is very important also.
Yeah.
But it's just not the same.
It's not the same.
And it's going to be different. And we've had women in and out of the shop at different points of time, not for long periods of time, but we know firsthand that you can't communicate with women the same way you do with men. And sometimes things get offensive.
It's true.
In ways
Our thing, but when we leave here, there's certain things we don't do. Now, when we first started on, we were on Victoria Street, and we used to watch a lot of movies, tons of movies.
Those are known for movies 24/7.
Yeah,
V8 pen.
We used to watch tons of movies, and at first, we realized there's some movies that had some content that we were ignoring, and we either fast forward to that or try not to play it at all.
Yeah. If there's only men in the shop, we might let it run.
Yeah. But once kids came in, once females came in, we
cut it.
We cut it. So now, remember, there was a female that was coming to get a haircut. I think it was her first time, and she was coming up the stairs and she heard, the music or the soundtrack of the movie, and she knew what kind of movie it was. And when she entered the space, because we're respectful and we have some kind of understanding about setting,
right,
she realized that we immediately went to turn off the content
right,
and put on something more appropriate for her to be in the space. which was a combination of common sense as a man, if you're being respectful for a woman, and also the thing that shows, hey, there's a group of people in here that have a common sense, or no, a common understanding about how to treat a woman or how to talk to a woman or what's appropriate for a woman to be around when it's coming from a man. Women could do their thing. They can be playing that movie, that's fine.
Right.
But what we know is that if we're being respectful and we know that there's someone, child or female, old or young, doesn't matter, we know how to act.
Right.
And we took it out, and she said she saw that, and she said she immediately knew that we were the classy, respectful men that she didn't know we were, because we were wearing like T-shirts, and we were wearing proper barbershop appropriate barbershop. Yeah. But from, we're doing our thing. And, the setup wasn't like how we have it right now. So it was kind of more like a hole in the wall, but upstairs. And she was like, yeah. And she said to that day, she's like, you know what? That's why I stayed on as a female client. And over the years, we've been able to do the same thing with other female clients. But notice it did change the atmosphere. It did change. So for that time being, while she's here, we're not watching or listening to certain content.
You know what women always say when they're in your environment? And I'm going to say the barbershop is a man's environment.
Right.
Doesn't mean women can't be in here,
correct,
barbering or getting their hair done, but it's a man's environment.
Right.
But what do women always say when they want to enter your environment, maybe as an employee or a coworker? They always try to say, oh, don't worry about it. I'll be like one of the guys.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh yeah, you can say whatever. I'm just like a guy every single time.
Stop that.
And then we always reach a point where all parties realize, okay, you're not a man. You're not a man. See,
it always happens.
I just said that, you got offended. You're not a man. Don't try to be a man.
Yeah.
You're a woman. That's what you're supposed to be. I'm a man. This is what I'm supposed to be. So if you have a woman in your environment as a barber or a couple of them, please, female barbers, don't try to be men. Just be yourselves. When it comes to attire, wear barbering attire. Don't come in trying to look cute because you're a female. Just wear barbering attire. I want one short story.
Okay.
I have left, okay? There's a female customer that I cut.
Okay.
She's a senior citizen, right? Very bubbly, great personality. And she said something to me that was very interesting. It made me understand a lot about myself.
Were you wearing the proper attire?
Always.
Okay, just checking.
So she said to me, she gave me a story, and she said, because she knows my age, and she said, your male friends, right? They need to tell their spouses and their wives to make sure they have time with their friends. I'm like, really?
Whoa. She's that the male
yes
has time with
she was
his female friends or his male friends?
No, female, never female friend. You don't need female friend. Your male friends. That's what's important.
Okay.
She said that a lot of women, I'm saying she said because I don't know, I'm not a woman. She said a lot of women want men to be with them all the time.
Right.
And they want their time first. Spend time with me, do things with me.
Right.
And they don't understand that men need to be with men at least once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, really? She said, yes. She said, it's for your sanity.
Oh,
she said, she goes, show me an unhappy man, and that's a man that doesn't spend time alone with his friends.
Wow.
She said, every time. She said she had to realize that in her relationship. And I look at the barbershop like that way.
Wow.
So I would always say to her, or just think to myself, man, you know what? I don't really spend time with my friends, right? Like the guys I grew up with.
Yeah.
I never see them unless I come for a haircut.
Yeah.
So I would think, why do I feel so content, even though I'm not spending time with my friends?
Yeah.
And then it clicked in. I'm surrounded by men.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
So.
And your best friend. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You see what he did there?
Yeah.
But I'm surrounded by my best friend and coworkers that over years have become my friends.
Yes.
So I didn't even realize how lucky I am that other guys who have to fight on a Friday night to go have drinks with their friend, or they have to go out of their way
True.
to go have male camaraderie.
Yeah.
I get that every day.
Every.
Which is why I think I don't feel the need to get together with my friends outside of here.
Right.
Right? Which is bad for our relationship, honestly.
Right.
Right? There's lots of times when my friends will be doing something, I'm like, I don't feel like going. But now I know why I feel like that, because I feel so content with the male camaraderie that I get here.
Yeah.
But she brought that up, and I took that to heart because she's a woman.
Yeah.
If a guy was telling me this, I'd be like, yeah, you're supposed to spend time with your friends. I'd be like, I don't know.
Exactly.
But she's a woman saying, no, you need to spend time with your male friends.
It's true.
So men out there, you need us. You need this environment. You're working hard all day. You could be in an environment where you could be a black man and you're in an environment with all white people or all Asian people, whatever it is. It's not the same camaraderie. You need to be in here with us once a week, getting your mustache touched up, getting a full haircut, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And get in tuned emotionally and spiritually so you can go out and fight the world. And yeah, I mean, I know we were talking about women in the beginning, but I'm going to end it off with that. We need to be around each other as much as possible for our sanity.
Yeah.
A lot of men don't realize that they need men. A lot of them don't. It's very important.
You know what? And it's funny, we did say this early on. I think we realized that early on in our career when we were saying that a man's man needs a man. So you're going to need that man for your accounting. Yeah. We were always like, and it is obviously, we're just talking about counsel, but you know, whenever you're getting married, there's just someone's there that's leading you in. Whenever you're buying a house, whenever you're, obviously there's female agents too, but.
Oh no, you say use a man for everything.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? There's always this counsel.
Yeah.
Construction, anything.
Yeah.
The dentist, anything. You're always counseling. My dentist is a female, by the way. Yeah.
Not Jen.
Right? But you always need somebody, and that's the thing. Just getting counsel was one of the things that we wanted to make sure that every man understood versus thinking that they're on an island.
Yeah.
And making all these decisions by themselves.
You know what's funny? My doctor's a female.
Yeah.
And I don't want a male doctor because I just feel more comfortable with a female doctor.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. I kind of know why.
Yeah.
I had a bad experience a long time ago. But, yeah, I don't fall against that. But I do know why. I just don't want a man. Yeah, I don't want a man doctor.
Bring it on.
Female doctor is much more comfortable.
Dr. Phil right here, bro.
Yeah.